Hello, everyone. We're going to continue on in our biblical allusions. We're going to do the C's and D's. So the next one is from Kings chapter 2, verses 1 through 18, and that's the chariot or chariots of fire. And why this is important is because Elijah was considered a great prophet of Israel. Now, the Bible does not come out exactly and say Elijah entered heaven on a chariot of fire, but he is surrounded by them as he enters heaven. Horses and chariots in the Bible symbolize power, so that's how you want to enter heaven. So God was just saying, that Elijah deserved to enter heaven that way. There was a 1981 movie by this title. I've been playing that theme song in my head while talking about it. And we also see this allusion in William Blake's poem, Jerusalem, where he says, "Bring me my chariot of fire." Because everyone wants to enter heaven in a chariot of fire. Unless you're Johnny Cash, then you're going down in the ring of fire. Anyway, next one, we have the phrase, "Consider the lilies of the field." And this is from the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. And Jesus is kind of alleviating the anxiety of his followers. He's telling them, you're focused on the wrong thing. Jesus wanted people to live a very simple life. So he just says, you're focusing way too much on the materialistic things in life. Consider the lilies of the field, he says. They don't worry about, how they look. They just are. They just exist. And because they have confidence and they don't care what other people think, that's what makes them beautiful. Okay, I know I sound like a One Direction song, but it's true. And this allusion is also in Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Okay, the next one, we have the crown of thorns. And this is from the book of John, chapter 18, verse 36. But it's also alluded to in the books of Mark and Matthew. And this is when the soldiers are mocking Jesus as the King of the Jews while crucifying him. A crown symbolizes royalty and majesty, but the thorns symbolize the pain and the responsibility. So they thought they were actually insulting Jesus, but it's come to, Shakespeare uses this allusion a lot. He uses it in Sonnet 60. And also popular was, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So just, there is a responsibility that comes with power. Now I sound like Spider-Man. Okay, our next allusion, we have David and Goliath. So this is in the book of Samuel, chapter 1, verse 17. And we have Goliath, a Philistine giant, who on the battlefield against the Israelites mocked God, and they were offended and insulted, but they knew they also couldn't defeat him. Now enter David, who was a young Israelite who asked King Saul for permission to fight Goliath, and King Saul agreed. They needed someone to sacrifice, I guess. So Goliath laughed at David as he approached with only a slingshot. Well, guess what? David knocked out Goliath with one rock and then cut off Goliath's head with Goliath's own sword. So Christians use this story as an allusion to show that anything is possible in the name of God. The secular world uses this allusion as an underdog story, an underdog defeating a giant because they were smart, not strong. And this illusion can be seen in even movies like Star Wars, where you see Luke Skywalker and the rebels take on Darth Vader and the Empire. And our last one for today, we have Daniel and the lion's den. This is actually from the book of Daniel, so he gets to tell his own story. Chapter 6, verses 1 through 16. Daniel is a very spiritual person. He prays to God on the daily. But the non-Jews don't like this, and they have him arrested for not praying to the royal master Darius. That's who they feel they should be praying to. His punishment is to be thrown into a pit of lions. But no lion attacks Daniel. Daniel says that this happens because God knew he was innocent and protected him. Darius, Royal Master Darius, finds out what has happened. He did not order this to happen to Daniel, removes Daniel from the lion's den, and then has the men who punished Daniel thrown into the lion's den where they are killed. We see this allusion in Frederick Douglass's autobiography, where he says that escaping slavery was like, quote, one who escaped from a den of hungry lions, end quote. Okay, so those are the biblical allusions, number 11 through 15. Thank you for listening.